Hey,
Hey everybody,
hi.
how's it going? Welcome to Don't Worry
Good.
Wednesday.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, welcome Ryan.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I star on the show, but I mean, it's good to be welcomed from
you
time to
are
time.
you are the star of the
Wait, were you
show.
welcoming them or me?
Well, I was welcoming them and you along with
Oh,
them. Is
both of us.
how
Okay, you
yeah.
are so kind.
So,
Appreciate
I
that.
know. I know. It's how
You're
it's how
great.
I roll. Well,
Good. I love you, Joe.
welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. I love you too.
Aw, that's great.
Yes. And happy late birthday, Ryan. Ryan had a
Yes.
birthday. I
Thank you,
believe it was
guys.
Wednesday.
Two
Was it
days ago. So yeah, Wednesday.
2 days ago? Yeah,
Yep, that was
yeah.
Wednesday. Unfortunately, I was not able to be here on Wednesday because I was traveling and packing and stuff, so I could go to my brother's, which is where I'm at right now, which is why I have a different background because I'm at my brother's right now.
It's a good looking background though.
Thanks. Um,
Yeah,
it's wood,
it
which
is.
goes great with my complexion.
It does.
Tan, Pete,
Yes,
tan. I think that's what you call that.
tannish.
White, just pure white, because let's not kid. I've got no. I'm just white.
Yes.
super, super. I've never been in the sun before. Um, Whitewashed kind of skin.
Yeah, but it suits you. It's
Yeah,
all
it
good.
fits. It fits.
Yeah, yeah. Sing happy bidet to
Happy
Ryan.
bidet.
Oh my. If it's public domain now, so if I sing the song, we don't have to pay for it, right?
That's right. That's right. It is now public domain, as proven to what's the name of the company? Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers
Is
could
it?
no longer prove that Happy Birthday was theirs because someone found a document that came before their initial stated point of ownership. So now it's everybody can sing it, copyright free.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, should I sing the song to you then, Ryan?
I'm not going to stop you, but if you don't, I don't care either. I'm
Well, we
fine
do
either
have
way.
one request to sing it. Kayla wants me to sing it.
Okay,
So
because Kayla
somebody
asked.
requested, because Kayla asked, I'm going to do it.
All right.
It won't be all that great, though.
Oh, it's gonna
Should I,
be probably.
should I, there's all kinds of ways to do that.
Yeah.
I could do Happy Birthday to you.
Oh, that's nice.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Static P.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Ah, that
And
was
many
nice.
more.
Oh. Yeah. That's nice.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's a happy
Very good.
belated birthday to Ryan. And welcome, everyone, to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we answer any questions or talk about any challenges you might be having in your life. We are not professional therapists or advisors or attorneys or police officers, and everything we recommend here is just for informational purposes only, and it's not a substitute for professional advice. A lot of times, if you're going through some kind of issue that's kind of complex, there never is any shame in seeking a professional. I've
That's
been
right.
there before, and it totally helped put everything on the right path for me. What we do on this show is we just want to pull up beside you as a friend and offer some encouragement, some perspective, maybe some friendly advice along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we just want to do anything we can to help you guys um, through whatever challenge you guys are having, because you guys are wonderful. And if you've been to this show before, you've seen the chat just going crazy, and everybody is just outstanding. They want to help um, anybody who's got a challenge. So Absolutely. It's fantastic. So,
Yeah.
um, Kayla says
She
she
wants
has
to
a
ask
very
the first
important
question.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's your
Now,
question? We do have one to get to that's Akil.
yep.
And so Akil said, look at Kayla. I think Akil is saying, hey, Kayla can go first, but we'll see. Akil,
Hmm.
we did have a question for you, if you don't mind. How would you, okay, so you've left us a good chunk of 2 paragraphs in the Don't Worry section on our website. By the way, we have a
Mm.
website, bss.studio. You can leave your Don't Worry questions there if we're offline or we couldn't get to it this stream.
Uh-huh.
But, anyways, you left us a good size paragraph there, or 2 paragraphs, and we were wondering how would you paraphrase that into 1 or 2 sentence question so that we can really narrow in what you're trying to ask and or talk about rather. How would you in 2 sentences say, well, this is what I'm struggling with. What would you say? Because now we've read through it and we can kind of get an idea of everything that you're going through or have gone through in the past rather.
Mm-hmm.
But we just kind of want to be able to um, narrow in on what it is that you want to talk about in all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Because
there
there's
was a
so much
lot of
there.
information there, absolutely, and it's great to be thorough, and it
Mm-hmm.
really gives us a good idea for all the things that have happened, and it gives us an idea of what's going on in your heart, and that's really, it's extremely helpful in directing us to whatever we're going to talk about. Um, but yeah, it would be really long to read it all on here.
Tell Sayuri, tell Bree that I love her too. She's great. I think I'm gonna pop out. I can't multitask as well because I'm not home. Rosie, I can't multitask at all. So props to you for even being able to do any of that.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
terrible at that.
See you, Rosie. Always a pleasure to see you.
Um, okay. Len Pop has a question, and I know that Kayla, we are definitely waiting on you for your question as well. Um, do you want to just go for Len Pop since she's got it up? Or he? Sorry, I don't
Sure.
know. Len Pop, so Len Pop's got it up?
Oh, Kayla says okay.
Okay.
Is that okay that she's going to type it out, or is that okay that we're going to go with Line Pops first?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure
Or we just
either.
ask. Don't ask if you can ask, just ask. That's right.
Yes, yes. Just throw your question in there, and then also, um, yeah, if we don't get
Komodo.
if we don't, there's also a chance if we don't get to your question, there's a chance we didn't see it because sometimes the stream just gets going really fast, and so we might
Yeah.
miss it. So don't
No shame in
hesitate
asking twice or
to
3 times or 4
ask it
times.
again. Yes, absolutely. Please do, as a matter of fact. So okay, well here's Akil,
Okay.
and he had
Let's just
asked.
say
Actually, let's start with Akil's because he had asked like 2 streams ago.
2 streams ago. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yes. So we've got some questions queued up. We'll start with
Yep.
Akil. Let's just say, how could I manage losses and loneliness and staying true unto my individuality that's been missing? How could I focus on these things? So, so there's some friends that he's lost,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not. He said not
And
necessarily
family, I believe, too.
depression, but fear has crept in, and so it sounds like just a general sense of insecurity. Um,
And loneliness, I can imagine, too, for sure.
yeah, yeah. So Ryan, do you have any thoughts on managing losses and loneliness?
Okay. I haven't experienced too much of that in my life. I've been very fortunate not to have. I do know, some people that have lost lots of people in their lives, and it is hard. Um, it's no thing I can just say, like man up and get over it, right? It's very hard. It's a very hard
Hmm.
thing to deal with. Um, one thing I often tell people is that pain that you feel is good. It's okay to feel that. It's a good thing. It's there for a reason, right? A lot of times we don't know the value of something until we feel the pain. But also, um, we can look at that pain and say, okay, so that pain is there because I feel this emptiness, right? Loneliness is this emptiness, right? And you have that because you knew what was once there, and it's a whole living life that you got to have a relationship with and interact with. And the value there is infinite. There's no just set value you can put on it. It is a human being and all of the relationships and times that you've had with them, right? It's totally okay to feel pain. And sometimes you have to, like Joe said, like Joe has said many times in the past, just let it in. Let that pain just wash over you and listen to it for a little bit. You just feel it. Don't do anything rash with it. Don't focus on it in a way that's self-destructive, but focus on it and understand it and just feel it and be like, okay, yeah, this doesn't feel good, right? And don't try to suppress it or try to find things to do to pass the time or keep your mind off of it. Focus on it for a while. And I think a couple things to do with it. First thing I would suggest is to find some kind of, I think I mentioned this to somebody before, but in one of the past recent streams, but try to find closure. Think about it, come to an understanding of it all, make something good of it. Ultimately, find something good in all of it. And I think one thing that's good in all of it is it just shows you how much people are valuable, how much value people are, and that you can use that to love on everybody else that is in your current life. Before they're gone or before you're gone, you can take this time to, now that you know how important it is, you can treat everybody else like they're so much more important because you understand more fully than most anybody, more than most people, because you felt that pain and you know that that's showing you how valuable a person is, right? That's one thing you can take out of it. You can probably find other things too that you can take out of it. And finding those good things will help you move forward. Sometimes you just have to say that's how it is. It sucks. It doesn't feel good, but that's how it is. And, sorrow isn't evil. Sorrow isn't bad. It's part of life. And, we all share in that. And another thing I would say is there's another side to loneliness you have to be careful of. And that is loneliness sometimes is the desire for yourself to, how do I want to say this? Sometimes you're lonely because not because you're alone, but because your heart desires someone else to be there, right? It sounds like the same thing, but it's not. Sometimes you feel lonely because you are longing for somebody, right? As opposed to the fact that you're just alone. And it's okay to long for somebody, but a lot of times our longing for somebody is out of selfishness rather than selflessness, or charity, I should say. So we long for somebody because we want to fulfill ourselves rather than longing for somebody because we want to fulfill them, right? We don't long for somebody because we want to make them happy. A lot of times we long for someone because we want to make ourselves happy, right? And so sometimes we get to this point. I think this happens a lot to people who are looking for girlfriends and boyfriends. They want a girlfriend or they want a boyfriend. They're like, man, I just want a girlfriend. I just want a boyfriend, because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel loved, right? But it doesn't actually, it's not necessary. It's good. It can be good, but true love isn't what seeks itself. Like, I don't love you by having you in my life and making me feel good. I love you by being in your life and making you feel good, not by you making me feel good, right? You know, I can't say, Mom, I know that I love you so much because you made that cake for me, right? That doesn't make sense. That's like, right? So sometimes loneliness can be a desire for ourselves, right? Is that wrong or evil? No, not entirely. But it does help you see a little bit and maybe change your course a little bit about why am I feeling lonely? What can I do to satisfy my loneliness? Or do I need to turn away from desiring to satisfy the loneliness and be okay with not having those things? Because here, a lot of times, this is what it is. A lot of times, I'm not saying this is you. This is just something that I went through when I was growing up. When I would say that I was lonely, a lot of times my loneliness was actually just wanting somebody else to make me feel important or feel loved or feel special. But I was all of those things before they ever did anything, before they were in my life, before they came into the room, whatever. And so if we rely on other people to make us feel happy, then our happiness is not in our own hands, and happiness will become extremely rare and very hard to find. Yeah. And it can come to a point, and I think this might be where you are, where you end up you feel like, you know, you're just alone because there's no one telling you that you're important or no one around you all the time. But because you desire to have that. So if that's the case, I would try to turn away from that. I would try to say, you know, do the things, be more trying to give to people and less about receiving from people. And what I mean is try to do things that other people won't even know you did them. Like do the dishes. If you live with your parents or something, or with anybody, do the dishes. Don't tell them you did it. Just do them, right? While they're not looking. I'm sure they'll figure it out as you, but don't look for a reward. Just do them. And doing things like that, that really helped me when I was in that position. I stopped feeling that loneliness because instead I was changing what my mind was focusing on, because then I was no longer focusing on others making me feel happy. My mind was focusing on me making others happy. And I no longer need others to make me feel happy if I can feel happy regardless of what others think, right? And I no longer need to make myself feel happy if I'm not focused on me. I can just focus on other people. And I think a lot of times that's who we really are, right? If you want to try to find yourself, just interact with people, you know, by doing things for them that make them happy. And you will get to discover yourself by how you act to others. You know, you might be in this position where you have repressed yourself or hid yourself from who you are, or been doing things like you don't normally do for so long that it's going to be impossible to find who you are. So maybe at this point, don't worry about finding who you are and just do what you think would be amazing. Here's what you could say, that I was one person, but then I really looked up to this other person and I liked their values. So I just practiced those values, right? And I became a different person essentially, but it's still me, right? I'm just doing the things that I think would be great. So be a hero, be someone that you think would be so cool to be. Just look at like someone that maybe you admire, or make up somebody that you think would be so cool, and just start doing those things that kind of person would do. And you know, you'll try some things. Some things might be like, okay, that felt like, some of it will be like, I can't believe I did that. That felt awesome, you know? And some other things might feel like, that wasn't that great. That wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be, or I wasn't really into that, you know, like I went into that group and then we had a good time. But I'm just not really into big groups of people. That's okay. You'll find yourself by doing those things. But those are things that you won't regret doing while finding yourself. And it will also help shape who you are. And these ear things keep on falling out, so that's why I keep on doing that. Anyways, that's kind of all I've got. That was a lot, actually. But anyways, hopefully that'll help. So maybe don't focus on searching for who you are, but just building who you are. Go out there, be the person that you think would be awesome to be. The person that you would be like, man, that guy, if a guy was like this in real life, that guy would be amazing. Be that guy. Do your best, and it's going to be awkward. It's going to be hard. But you force yourself to do those things, and that will move you forward. It'll only move you forward into your quest of deciding who you are.
Yeah.
But I try to touch on every subject. I hope I did, and I'm going to leave the rest to Joe.
Yeah, no, I would reiterate everything Ryan just said.
Do it.
Pretty much. I mean, that was awesome. Wow. That was a lot of wisdom packed into a short time period. So hopefully you'll be able to go back and listen to this again and again, because there was a lot there that you can take from little portions here and there and just focus on little aspects of that. Wow.
Jono Taylor, by the way, yes, you can be a part of our community. Just be here. You're already a part of it.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. But I really, what Ryan was getting to at the end of there, actually, Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you seek in the world. And that's part of becoming an individual. That's part of finding who you are as an individual, is, figuring out, if there's something about the world that makes you upset or something that you see that needs to change, then, go to work fixing that. Go to work trying to address that issue, and that could be a really big key to figuring out your purpose. The reason, Ryan and I have been doing the Don't Worry Wednesday stream for a while, and, for a long period of my life, I struggled with depression, and I ended up in therapy for it. There was all kinds of reasons for it. Excuse me. But the more we do Don't Worry Wednesdays, the more I realize a big part of my purpose is probably helping people get through the same types of things that I went through years ago, Mm-hmm. And so this issue that you're struggling with, the losses, the loneliness, and all of this stuff. I mean, these issues, as you go through them and handle them, maybe what's happening is you're being built to help other people through these same types of issues, because everybody experiences loss, and everybody experiences a time when they need to grieve, and
Mm-hmm.
and at those times it's critical. We're very sensitive to the world around us. There's all kinds of things that can pull us in different directions. And so as you go through that period of grieving, and where you're kind of taking a step back and resting a bit and letting yourself heal mentally, because if you let your mind stretch too far for too long, then you can have some kind of a mental breakdown. So like you can only stretch so far to a certain point. And it's good to stretch yourself almost to your limit, and then come back, and then stretch again, maybe a little farther, and then come back, and then you can grow that way. It's the same way of exercising. You exercise to push yourself beyond your current limit, and then rest and let yourself rebuild, and then do it again and go a little bit further. And as you go through that process, you will grow. And before you know it, you'll look back and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can handle things that I never thought I could before,
Mm-hmm.
And so I totally lost my train of thought, but I hope that was helpful. And as far as being an individual, like Ryan was saying, focus on serving other people. what I had to do, this is so big of a part of my story. I can't not say it, and I hope it's not offensive. But one of the things that helped me to heal greatly was building and developing more of a prayer life, and some more meditation, more prayer and meditation, focusing on God. All of that part of things really, really aided in the healing process for me. And like Ryan was saying about relationships, if we pursue someone for our benefit, it really is in danger of becoming an addiction.
Sure.
If we pursue glory and recognition, and that's how we get fulfillment. I've been down that road before, where it's like I only felt good if somebody was complimenting me. I only felt good if somebody was praising something that I had done. And what happens is you just end up, you become, it becomes a pursuit for that, and it becomes an addiction because of the rush that comes from that. And so you're always seeking that rush. And before you know it, you're not fulfilled with anything else. And you get totally fixated, and it's almost like being a prisoner of your own emotions. And you can really, it just turns into an addiction. And so I would encourage you, maybe take a step back, maybe spend some time meditating, maybe spend some time just, visualizing some good things, healthy things and happy things, take some time and just meditate on things that are good, things that are beautiful. And maybe try and put in some disciplines, maybe some light fasting, maybe some other types of things, maybe some self-denial of some things. And what that will do is that'll strengthen you, and that does a really good job of killing any addictions that are starting to happen.
That's true.
Discipline can help kill those addictions. So, yeah, man, my heart goes out to you, Akil. There's a lot there, and for those of you who want to see the whole thing, here's the link to his question. And because there's a lot in there, there's a lot of nuances in that, and you've really been through a lot.
Yeah, and you've handled the what, and you're still here, still kicking, and you've got a good positive attitude about a lot of things. So I know that, and we've known you for a long time, Akil. You've been around since, I'm pretty sure, the first time we got that website up and running. It was a long time ago. So yeah, you've always had a good attitude. So we know that, we definitely know that you've been through a lot, but you've tried very hard and you have good attitude. So I do have to say, keep it up. Just keep being strong. You're doing great.
Yes. And thank you for the question.
A lot of times I think it's easy to allow others to determine, like, we identify ourselves based on how we interact with other people. We like say, this is the kind of person I am. I'm the kind of person that is this way, but in dealing with other people, we always kind of try to identify ourselves based on our relationships with other people. And it's not entirely wrong, but I would say that you got to make sure that you identify yourself by your actions. You get to choose how you identify. You get to choose who you are by what you do, right? I am the kind of person that does this, and then you do that.
Right, but don't get so caught up into that you become a human doing. You are a human being. You are valuable just because you exist.
Right.
You have infinite dignity just because you are. So just that very fact, you're of infinite value. But like Ryan said, the way we, who we become in the world is based on what we do. And it can start little. It can start small with what types of disciplines. I know that I held myself in greater esteem when I stopped hitting the snooze button. It was just that one little change. And my confidence went just skyrocketing because
Yeah.
of that one little discipline. And then, like Ryan has said before, when he'll make himself a sandwich and he'll eat half of it and he'll still be hungry, but he'll set the sandwich aside and he'll just practice self-denial. He'll see the sandwich there, he'll be like, I'm not going to eat that yet. And he'll let it sit there for a while. And that those little points of self-denial build so much confidence. I would deny myself the ability to pull the covers back over my head and go back to sleep for 7 minutes or however long the snooze lasts.
Right.
You know, it's some arbitrary number. You know, like
7.3957. No.
Right. It's weird. But you know, to deny myself that comfort built confidence. You know, and then when I get myself out of bed and I exercise first thing in the morning, on days when I exercise, then my confidence soars even higher. On days when I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like it, and then I sleep in, I feel like garbage. But you know, when you discipline yourself to do the things you know is right, you know, your happiness increases, your confidence increases, all the wonderful endorphins are running through your body. It's great. You know, I mean, it's magical to see your confidence go higher and higher as a result of your own self-discipline. So yeah. So I it sounded like you were going in that direction and I jumped in, Ryan.
Oh no, that's great. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because it helped to have the disclosure, if you will, the little points of, because you don't want to identify anything other than a human being, right? You don't say I'm this because I like this, right? One thing that you really don't want to do is to say is to degrade yourself. Is to degrade yourself or lessen yourself to specific action. And what I mean is a lot of times people in our current culture identify as, I know it's a little bit, what do you call it? Controversial. But a lot of people identify as a specific gender or sex or whatever, just because of the things that they feel or because of the things they like, because of experiences they had and so on. And I would say try to get away from identifying yourself based on sex, you know. A lot of it, you know, just because life isn't all about sex, right? Life is a lot more than that. And there's more
to popular culture.
Yes, contrary to pop culture will teach you sex is everything, and that's not the case. There's a lot more to life than sex. There's a lot more to life than finances. You know, you can say, oh, that person's poor, that person is rich. But just by saying that, is that really who they are? No. You go down, you get to know that person, and you're like, you know what? This poor person is amazing. They have so many stories to tell. They've been through so much. And to do the same thing with I like to have sex with both genders, you know, and then it's like, but that doesn't say who you are. You're so much more than just that, you know?
Yeah.
So don't demean yourself. Don't just say, oh, you know, this is who I am and I identify as this. It's hard to identify yourself. And I think we live in a culture that wants to identify themselves as this or as that or the other thing. Don't worry about identifying yourself so much. Just be who you are and don't worry about identifying, because if you put yourself in a group, you're excluding yourself from all the other groups. You're not allowing yourself to really get to know the other groups because you put yourself in this little pocket and you can't branch out from it so easy. And it's better to allow your life to flow. And, you know, when you're a kid, you might not like mushrooms, but you grow up and you like them, or you don't like them still, right? We are constantly changing as human beings. And so it's better not to put ourselves in little groups or bags, you know, and try to stay away from this identifying myself culture, because to identify a human is ultimately just say they're human. Don't try to, you know, put into little tiny categories, because I'd say that's vain, if you will. I wouldn't push any buttons too hard on that, but yeah.
You pushed all the buttons.
I pushed all the buttons.
You pushed them all like super hard.
Good.
You like hammered those buttons.
I used a hammer.
Button hammerer.
All right. You want to get to Kayla's question now?
Yes, we should do that.
All right.
Um, yeah. So let's see. Okay. So Kayla. Oh, by the way, Master Lay. No, I have never skipped leg day. Just like Lego Batman, I've never skipped leg day.
Nice.
I imagine that is the reference. It's from the Lego Batman movie.
Really? That's great.
Yeah, that's one of the songs. He's like, "Who's never skipped leg day?" or something like that. You know.
That's that's funny.
He's Batman.
That's great.
Yeah. So okay, yes, Kayla. Yes, you may ask your question now. Actually, you posted your
Hmm.
question.
You want me to read it? I have it in front of me.
Okay, yeah, read it.
She said, "Well, I love singing and I'm pretty okay at it. I say you're awesome, by the way. I've heard you sing and you're amazing." Okay, so going on. Okay. "Well, I love singing and I'm pretty okay at it. So my dad surprised me and booked me a singing gig at a big carnival. I'm really self-conscious about my voice and I'm really freaking out about it." Totally understandable.
Yes.
Would you like to hit that one?
Oh my. I would love to. So, Kayla, congratulations on getting the gig. I mean, I
Yeah, that's
know
awesome.
sounds like it came as kind of a surprise. But that one thing that's awesome in this situation is that your dad recognized your talent enough to book you a gig.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, you know. And even though it's making you freak out, you know, just the very fact that your dad thinks of your voice enough to book you a gig at a carnival to do that,
Yeah, this is a
that's
lot.
that's really really amazing. And I see you've updated. You have really low self-esteem, and that's what's making this so hard. I
Hmm.
also can relate with that. Um, one thing about performing in public, especially when you may not have as much confidence in your voice, but well, let's see. I'm trying to think back to when I was nervous getting in front of a group of people and doing something.
Hmm.
Um, because I remember some of my earliest shows. Well, first of all, I would never book anything. Well, I was in bands before and we would play gigs and stuff like that, but I would never book anything because I was always too scared to make phone calls to book gigs,
Sure.
you know? So I would never have even gotten to a gig had it not been for somebody else booking the gig.
Hmm.
So, but the first time you do this, it's always the most nerve-wracking.
Hmm.
Always. And it can feel really weird standing on that stage and looking out. You know, when you're sitting in the audience and you're looking up at the stage, you just look at the person and it's just no big deal. You're just looking at them and they're putting on a show and all this kind of stuff. And man, it's just like regular day-to-day living. But when you actually get yourself on the stage, even when all the seats are empty, and you're
Yeah,
just
it's true.
looking up at all the empty seats, or if it's like you're saying it's a carnival, so it's like probably a big open space and a stage in front of a big open space. And even if nobody's sitting out there yet, you're on the stage, there's a microphone in front of you, and there's this whole big area where people are going to be. There's a weird, nervous adrenaline rush that comes with that's unlike anything else in the world. And that also, just on a side note, that can become an addiction as well.
That's true.
So you
It can
you can
feel
get
pretty
addicted to
awesome.
that adrenaline. At first it's going to feel really really strange and weird and nerve-wracking and all this kind of stuff. But you get up there and um sometimes it helps to just close your eyes when you get up there and sing. If you're nervous, maybe just close your eyes and get yourself into that song. Just get into the song and forget about what's going on all around you. Because what's going to happen then is you'll pour everything you have into the song. You'll let the song itself envelop you and just take you in and push everything else aside. And that's what people want to see anyway. They want to see somebody perform by getting into that song and really, really living what they're performing, you know?
Right.
And
that's
you
true.
do that by getting into it. I remember that. Oh, here's one experience. I remember this was really, really nerve-wracking. We had a school assembly in I can't remember if it was my sophomore or junior year of high school. We had a school assembly where they had a speaker come and, you know, talking about bullying and, you know, different kinds of depression and all these kinds of different things. And, you know, went through all these kinds of different psychological things. And then at one point in the assembly, the speaker invited anyone who wanted to come up and sing in front of the whole school. Our school was roughly about 1,500 people, maybe, you know, that were in the school in all 4 grades. And
that's 1,500 for you people who are like me, don't like the people who say 100 after a double digit.
Yeah, like 1,000.
Yeah, what's 1,000? Oh, you mean 1,000? I'm sorry, did you say 1,200? Oh, let me calculate that. That's 1, 2, wait, the 100, 0, 0. Okay, so 1, 2, 0. Oh, it's 1,200. Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Yes, perfect. So 1,500.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they invited people to come up and sing, and one person went up and sang a song, and they did really good. I mean, these were choir people. These were people that were in the school choir or in the drama, and I was not in any of that. I was a drummer that could sing, basically, you know. And my best friend at the time, he had told me, he's like, you need to get up there and you need to sing this Led Zeppelin song. I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was like, hey, hey, what can I do, or something. It was like
nice.
a B song off of, like, nobody would have known this song ever. Right. And
nice.
So he's like, you need to go up and sing that song. And I'm like, why? He's like, because you can. So you should.
Because you can.
He's like,
that's wild.
He's like, do it. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do it. He's like, do it. Just go do it, man. You'd be awesome. And it sounds a lot like what your dad's doing. He's just like saying, hey, get out there and do it. You have a beautiful voice. You can do this, you know? And, you know, and so he did that, and so finally I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. And so I walked out there, and everybody was kind of confused to see me go out there.
Yeah, people like, dude,
like, what? Who is this guy? You know?
Yeah.
There were a few people that grew up with me that were in church, in our church, when I was growing up, that knew I could sing because I'd sang in like the kids' choirs and stuff like that, you know. So they knew I could sing, but they hadn't heard me sing in years, you know. They just knew me as a kid, and so anyway, he had me go up there, and I just kind of stood there, and I looked around at everybody, and I was like,
what have I gotten myself into?
Oh my. And they gave me the microphone, and that changed everything. Like, so it's one thing to sing by yourself. It's another thing to sing into a microphone. It's a totally another thing to sing into a microphone in a big room where there's echo and all this stuff, and your voice just ends up sounding huge, you know, or an outdoor stage where, you know, you're on these enormous speakers and your voice is going out, boom, and it's just projecting, and yeah. It's such a bizarre feeling. And I remember sitting there with that microphone, and I was just like, well, and I wanted to puke. I was like,
yeah.
But then I started singing it, and it was so weird. Like, I just closed my eyes and I sang it. And there were times when there weren't any lyrics going on. There were pauses for when it was instrumental parts, you know, where he's like, dun, 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 you know, and then I'd sing it. But I'd just be silent, tapping my foot. And then I'd sing the part, and then I'd be silent again, tapping my foot, and then I'd sing the part. And every time it was silent, the room was dead silent. And then I'd sing my part, and then the room dead silent. And then I'd sing my part in the room dead silent. And I just had my eyes closed. And I'm doing this, right? And then I got done. And I looked up at everybody. And at first they were like trying to figure out if I was done or not because there were all those pauses.
Yeah.
So they're like, is this just another pause?
So that they know. No,
right.
I'm just kidding.
Right, but that wasn't a thing back then. I'm old,
Yeah.
see, so that was dropping the mic wasn't a thing.
Right, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Right. But then just the applause was deafening. After that, it was like if you've ever seen Napoleon Dynamite when he gets done with his thing and then everybody gets up and rah, you know,
Nice.
and then and I remember that feeling, and then I remember after that, everybody wanted me to sing for stuff.
Wow,
everybody
nice.
wanted me to come in. They're like, "You play guitar too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play guitar too." They're like, "You need." We had a day in class where we had kind of a free day, and they're like, "Did you bring your guitar to school?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, just go get your guitar and play for the next hour. Play and sing. Like, play and sing for the class. I'm like, really? You know, and so then that kind of started this whole ball rolling down the thing. But if my friend hadn't gotten me to do that, I probably wouldn't still be a musician singing different songs and all that kind of stuff now. I probably would have never gone down some of the paths I went down that really developed me into a musician. But this moment, this could be a very critical moment where this could be the opening up of a career. And I see it says on there, you maybe you're self-conscious about the way you look. I think Kayla said she maybe is overweight. Okay, people have told you your whole life that you're worthless because you're big. I tell you.
Those people are stupid.
Yeah, they're
wrong.
You know, absolutely they are wrong. Oh my goodness. You know, it has nothing to do with your size. There have been so many tremendous musicians with tremendous talent that have contributed huge amounts to the world of music. And one recently just passed away, Aretha Franklin.
I was actually going to say Aretha Franklin, yeah.
Yep, she just passed away actually at 76.
I didn't know that.
But
okay.
Yeah, I just saw that today. But yeah, she was overweight, had a tremendous voice, so much soul poured into her voice. And you can do that same thing. Just pour your heart into it. Just as much as you can, forget about all that's going on around you. And be in that song and be in that moment. And just put it out there and say, you know what? Here's one thing that's going to happen. Here's the thing you're going to be sure about. You know that carnival's coming. You know that you have a performance booked. You know that you're going to go to that performance. And you know that it's going to be over.
At some point, yes.
Yep. It's totally going to be over. And you're going to do it, and then it's going to be done, and then whatever results happen from there is come what may. But take that moment and be in the song and just pour everything you have into that. And I remember early on when we were playing one of my first bands, we were playing at this small club, and it was dead. Like, there was hardly anybody there. There were like 5 people in the whole place, right? And 2 of them were employees, and then one person was person was watching, and then 2 people were off in a booth trying to have a conversation, and it was kind of annoying them that we were there, right? So, but this one guy that was watching, he was a performer too. And you know, we were up there was hardly any crowd, so we're like not having any energy at all. We're just like playing whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, you know what? He took us aside when we had a break, and he said, hey, you know what? I know there's hardly anybody in here, but let me tell you something. You get up there and rock that stage, because we were playing rock and roll music. He's like, I hear the songs you're playing. I love some of those songs you're playing because some of them were covers and some of them were originals and stuff like that. But he's like, those songs are great songs. Put everything you got into them. I don't care how many people are here. And I was like, whoa, this guy's weird, first of all. And then I was like, but you know what? He's right.
He's right, yeah.
He's right. And so the next set, we went up there and we just poured it on. We were doing all kinds of stuff, man. Like, I put my arms up in the air.
Go all out.
Right, like I had a guitar and I had another guitar player, and this was hilarious. I don't remember who we copied this from, but we were playing a song, and my buddy he got behind me, and I just put my arms up in the air, and he reached his arms around me and just played his solo on my guitar, and then he picked me up, and he's like carrying me around the stage.
He picked you up and carried around?
He picked me up. He kind of squeezed me. He kind of squeezed under my armpits and picked me up, and he's playing a guitar solo while he's carrying me around.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It was awesome. And so this guy's just this one dude who had given us this piece of advice. He's just like, yeah, man, woo,
Yeah, he's a one-man crowd just applauding you with his entire body because, that's awesome.
Yep. So, man,
that's hilarious.
But those stories all come back to the same point. What you look like, it's not going to matter. Compared to if you throw yourself and pour everything you have into that performance, into that song, and just in your heart, just feel it all well up and just put it all out there. Nobody's going to care what you look like. They're just going to see that performance and they're going to be like, whoa, that's awesome. And so do that.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Ryan,
yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, like just said, give it your all, and because that's all you can give, right? What you're doing as a performance is you're giving something to other people, so give them your best, right? If 2 people are looking at you in the crowd, or if there's 500 or 2,000, whatever it is, right? Give them your all, and I'll tell you what, it's gonna be awesome. So don't worry. It's just going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. I remember my first concert. I only ever did, I had a couple of band concerts while I was in band playing saxophone, but it's with 50 other kids who are playing their instruments. And, it's just like the parents are the people who come and nobody else. So, all the guests. So it's slightly different. But I'm talking about, I remember I got involved in me, my friend, and 3 of my friends. We were a 4-man band. I was on keyboard. We had a bass, we had a drummer, and we had a guitarist. And we got up on stage. Yes, I was playing the alto sax, that's right. But in this instance, I was playing the keyboard. We got up on stage during a talent concert or talent show. And first of all, no one knew that we were even a band. They had never heard us play. They didn't know that we were even putting this together. We put it together just for fun because we're like, hey, let's do this. And then we realized, hey, wait a minute, there's a talent show. Let's go for it. And so what had happened and so I'm giving you this story because someday you're going to have a story for everybody, right? And it's going to be amazing. Right? You're going to tell people about the first time that you ever did a show. And it's going to be it's going to be way bigger than mine was because you're just going to be at a carnival. That's awesome. But anyhow, so me and my 3 friends, we were all geeks. We didn't, it was we were not known for having a band. We were known for being geeks. Right? And so we get up there on stage. Everyone's like, really? Wait, really? What are they going to do? And so then we start, my friend, he started with on the guitar, he played the theme for Star Wars. It goes, dun 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 dun
Oh
dun
yeah,
dun
the March of the
dun
Stormtroopers.
dun 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 dun. And he's
Yeah.
ripping it on the guitar, yeah. Dun 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 dun. Right. And so while he's doing this, I had a hoodie on. I never wore hoodies. I had a hoodie on, a black hoodie, over my head, was looking down, staring at my keyboard. No one could see my face. And while the song was going on, I just slowly raised my hand into the air like this and slowly just started rocking out harder and harder. And the crowd went wild. Literally, if the performance ended right there, it would have been a success, right? Because we did something outrageous and weird, right? No one was expecting it. And so, and I'm rocking out. My hair is flying everywhere. My hair was only like down to my shoulders at the time. But anyways,
then you were short hair then.
Yeah, I had short hair compared to what I have now. and then we broke out into a song that we had made. We didn't tell anybody that we wrote it or anything, so everybody just sounded like chaos. But we wrote this song that went like wild for like 5 minutes straight, just doing crazy riffs, and I was all over crazy on the piano. The drummer was like, he was playing metal, and so we were just playing this metal song that we had written on. And when we got done, there was a standing ovation. We were the only one to receive a standing ovation in the entire talent show, I think, in years. They stood up, gave us a standing ovation, hooting and hollering and feeling like, wow, that was amazing. We were the talk. We were the talk of the school for like that next month. Like, people were coming up to me that I didn't even know. They were like, dude, you were so awesome. I was like, thank you. Who are you? Right? It was hilarious. But what was funny is we got the standing ovation. And I had to leave immediately after I performed because I was going on a vacation to like Florida. And so just after the performance, I left the school, didn't wait for anybody else's performance, and I left. Well, after I got home the next week, I got the news. Basically, this is what happened. We didn't win the talent show. The people who had performed they also performed music. There was a little group. They did a song that was well known. It was a pop song. I don't know what it was anymore. They had a singer and so on. We didn't have a singer. We just, played all instruments. Anyways, they won the talent show. We had gotten second or third place. And I was like, how? And there was like, basically, while the teachers were the voters, the teachers were the ones that got to vote and the students didn't get to vote. So even though we got the standing ovation from all the students and they were like, whoa, that was amazing. And we were playing heavy metal on stage, right? No one's played metal on that stage before, right? And so we went to school.
It was offensive.
Yeah, the teachers did not vote for us, and so we did not get first place. I think we got like third or fourth place. I don't know. Anyways, we didn't win it, and I was like, how? But whatever, it's cool. It actually adds more to the story, the fact that we didn't win, because it's just awesome.
According to the audience, you won.
Yes, according to the audience, according to the standing ovation, we are the only ones to receive that kind of ovation. But because I had actually seen
talent judges don't know squat, man.
Right? Yeah, they don't. Yeah, if anyone critiques you, they don't know what they're talking about.
They're critics.
They're critics. They're meant to be critics, right?
Yeah.
Judges aren't up there, and they're meant to judge. So they're not there to enjoy it. They're to judge it. And
right.
Try to keep that in mind. So if you get people,
and they're not gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
They're not gonna what?
They're not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
They're gonna get it. They're gonna get a free copy so they can critique it.
Right.
But the people who you're performing for are the people who are gonna buy it, and they're the people who are gonna cheer for it. Those are the people.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, Ryan. I totally interrupted you.
No, no, that's so true. You know, the people that are there to judge are there to judge. And some
Mhm.
people are going to be putting them in that position. They're going to be in the crowd and be like, I'm judging everything you're doing. And they're going to be, they might not cheer. And they're just going to be like, you know, you've got this issue I heard, you know, and you need to make sure you do this next time and blah, 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 blah. But those people aren't the ones enjoying it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you can gain valuable insight from those people. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
You know, like you
That's
totally
true.
can. Like you can say, like if someone offers you some critical advice, you can just say thank you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. And then keep doing what you're doing. Maybe take that into account when you're practicing again. But if you've practiced and if you know what you're going to sing and you know it inside your heart, man, you can perform it.
Thanks for all the love,
And
guys. You guys are amazing, by the way. We
no,
love
no
you, and we
kidding.
love the fact that you love each other. It's amazing. You guys are great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Skit.
Yeah. Thank you, Skit, and welcome.
So hopefully that'll give you enough encouragement. I think that your father is definitely doing the right thing here. I've heard your voice. You're great. And I've talked to your father, and I think it's so awesome that he's supporting you this way. He wants to support you so much. So um, I think you've got a great opportunity here. Just do
Mm-hmm.
your best, be your best, give it your all. However you'd like to do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone out there is gonna enjoy it. Um, and you know, doesn't matter what people think of you, because that doesn't make you who you are. You know, you're worth the whole world and more,
Yes. And
and you know
oh,
that.
here's another thing. One more quick thing.
Hmm.
Um, somebody is going to not like what you do.
That's always the case.
And you got to come to grips with that. I tell you know, like it took me a long time to become comfortable with that fact. But it's like, okay, you know what? There are people that are going to hate what I do. There are people that are going to listen to 4 seconds of it and shut it off and say that was terrible and throw it out. You know, they're going to watch the YouTube video for less than 4 seconds and they're going to turn it off and switch to a different thing, you know? But there are going to be people who love it,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love it. And it sounds to me, I feel like I'm missing out, Kayla, because I have not heard you sing. And apparently all these people in the chat have heard you sing, and Ryan's heard you sing. Everybody's heard you sing. And I'm like, and they're all saying you're awesome. And I'm like, I'm missing out. I
I'm
want to hear
missing out.
this.
I want to hear it. Yeah. Well, you should.
So, yeah. But anyway, you guys, man, wow.
Nice,
Such
Jono. Yeah,
encouragement in this group.
yeah. The first time I listened to Static P, I listened to It's Not Like You, and I stopped listening after 0.3 seconds. Good on you. Listen to one of my other songs. They're better. No.
Yes. Yep. It's that piano part. Gets me every
Yep.
time, you know, like I just want to shut it off.
Yeah, it's got the nice wood sounds. And then the piano comes in, you're like, oh, no, bros, that's it. No.
Yep. Well, you know, I was doing this is very interesting, and this goes to you, Kayla, also. With the you know, even if you're self-conscious about your voice and maybe you're self-conscious about your performance and all that kind of stuff, um, I was going through an audio production course, and this guy had been a mixing engineer for decades, right? And he was relating this story about a Ben Harper album he had done. I don't know if you know who Ben Harper is, but he was fairly popular back in the early 2000s, and maybe still is. But anyway, he was talking about this. He had gotten all of the tracks from a different studio, and his job was just to mix it, right?
Hmm.
And he got two vocal tracks. He got two different sets of vocal tracks. One was one that was supposed to be just the scratch one, like they just played it with the whole band just to get the band, and this was him singing with the whole band, right? And there were all kinds of errors, there were all kinds of missed notes, there were all kinds of problems with microphone distance and all kinds of everything, right? And then the other version he got was the dubbed over studio version of the vocal track, which was just him listening on headphones to the band singing. and singing along with what he was listening to, right? And it had been comped together, so, and that means like there were a few different takes and they had cut it up and put different parts of different takes in there, just the best sounding ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up throwing out the overdubbed studio track, and he went with the one that had all the errors and was recorded with the band and had all this extra noise, all this kind of stuff, and he dealt with that because that one, Ben Harper had poured his heart into the performance. And he's like, that's what I want coming through in the record, is the heart, the heart and the soul. I want that part coming through. And all the hours they spent in the studio recording take after take after take and then cutting them up and putting together this track for the other one, he just threw that out. Because awesome. He was like, even dealing with wrong notes, even dealing with, mic distance issues and, increases and decreases in volume and an imperfect recording, all of that was secondary to the performance of the heart that came through. And, so that can hopefully help you realize that that's the most important part of when you're up there on stage in front of those people at the carnival. If you can just I'm not a big endorser of Eminem. I don't like many of his messages, but in one of his songs, he says, lose yourself in the music, lose yourself, where you just put yourself into it and just pour everything you have into it and do that. Oh my gosh. And from what it sounds like, you've got the skill and you've got the ability, and you pour your heart into that, you're going to have a tremendous performance. And there are people out there who are going to absolutely love it. And you're going to inspire people.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yep. So I'm sorry if we spent a long time on that one, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah, totally. It was great too. Good stories.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
So Kayla, thank you so much for the question, and thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And man, we're so glad that you're part of the community, and continue coming back.
Yes, please. It's good to have you.
Skit-O-Maniacs has a YouTube channel that has funny skits.
Oh. Well, there you go.
So we should go to that at some point too. Do we just search for Skit-O-Maniacs?
Actually, we can click on his name. Click on the little 3 dots next to his name, and then you can go right to his channel.
Hey, look at that. I know. I'm so technologically inept. It's hilarious.
That's okay. I am too sometimes.
Go to channel. Look at that. There's a whole button that just says go to channel.
Yes, that's an entire button for it. One whole button. It's not a half a button. It's not like a quarter of a button. It's a whole button designed just to go to their page. One purpose.
Yes. So yeah, so we have another question from I think who did this one? Sayuri?
Is that the case?
I'm gonna not pronounce this correctly. But I think Sayuri might have left. I saw that they were leaving.
Yeah, they left. I think. Let us know if you're still here.
Yeah, if you're still here, Sayuri,
you can call them Bree if you want.
Bree?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that's their name.
I think Bree left. Okay.
I think Bree's gone.
All right. Well, so do we want to answer that question still, or do we want to maybe wait till next week?
Who asked the question originally about the relationship online? Do you remember that one?
Oh my goodness, yes.
It was our first one.
Yeah. Len Pop, are you still here?
Yeah, Len Pop, are you still here? If you are, say hi. I'm not a chupacabra. Or to actually just say anything. It's fine.
Then Love, XX Love XX.
Yes.
um
Wait.
said asked the question
Oh.
on the website.
Oh,
Sweetie puppy Kiara.
that's a cute name.
Hi, if it's not a bother, any advice? Let's see. Okay. Well, since you are here, Sweetie puppy Kiara, aka XX Love XX,
Uh-huh.
um yeah, we will go through yours.
What's the question?
The
Let's
question,
see.
it's a little bit long, so it's a little long for YouTube, so I will just
Oh, okay,
read
I
it.
see it. Yep. Yep.
Any advice on getting over someone that I love, care for a lot? They're very special to me, and I pretty much talk about them all the time. I kind of feel bad for my other friends, but I know me and them are never going to happen, and I understand why. But just advice to try and get over those feelings because they hurt a lot. I at least
Mm.
want their friendship, but it is just sometimes I feel like I'm such a bother or burden not just to him, but pretty much to all my friends. I feel like I ruin everything. I don't know if that's a normal feeling, but I just wish it would be less. And I'm too much of an overthinker, and I think my friends know that very well. Thanks for everything. Sorry if it seems like a long question. No, it just unfortunately it's a little too long for the YouTube chat, but it's not too long of a question. And yes, thank you for posting. Thank you for coming to bss.studio, posting the question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this, wow, I can understand this feeling that you're having. Um, and I'm going to let Ryan jump in first and see if he has anything to say
So
about
two
this.
things. The first one being wanting to help, wanting advice on helping to get over somebody that you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second one being the feeling of, uh,
Feeling like a burden
yeah, feeling like a
to him
burden.
and to friends.
Yeah,
Feeling like you ruin everything.
feeling like you ruin everything. Got it. Okay. Um, Getting over somebody, that's hard. You know, we have emotions and we don't control them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Emotions are a response to the reality or whatever is going on around us, but controlling them and deciding, hey, I just don't like this thing anymore because I choose not to. That's hard to do, right? You know, if you like broccoli, it's going to be hard to say, you know what, I don't actually like broccoli, and then actually not like it. You know, the truth is, when you like something, you like it, right? So how do you get over that? Um, well, there's a couple different ways. One way, time, you
Mm.
know, time, as time goes on, you won't be so attached, right? You distance yourself with time, or maybe you don't even have to distance yourself, but eventually, emotions. Um, Usually, when you like somebody, it's because you are emotionally attached to them. But emotions, the beautiful thing about emotions is they don't last forever. They slowly fade away,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes they take years to float away, and sometimes they only take a minute. Depends on the situation. Each person is different. Each situation is different. Um, and so with time, you can trust that eventually that'll go away. Doesn't mean you'll ever stop completely loving that person, right? Because love is desiring the best for them, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing to love people, um, but to desire them in a romantic way, um, you know, time will help fix that. Um, Sometimes that's all you can do is just wait it
Mm-hmm.
out. Another thing you can do, a great suggestion, if you are doing this, stop it. Don't fantasize about them. Don't think,
Mm.
oh, imagine like holding their hand. Imagine walking down the street and just talking about other whatever. Don't daydream, don't fantasize, don't do any of that because that will only make it last longer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're living a life that doesn't actually exist and that you can't have. And even if you do end up in a relationship with this person, it's not real. None of that's real. They didn't experience it with you. And so it's worthless, pretty much. So if you catch yourself daydreaming or fantasizing about this person, move on to a different subject. Just be like, no, gotta think about something else. Think about something else. That'd be my best suggestion as for getting over them. Joe may have some other ones. And as for feeling like a burden, I'll tell you, whoa, that was a weird noise.
Something just fell over.
Something just dropped. Yeah, I don't know what that was. So as for feeling like a burden, that's okay. We're all a burden to each other in reality, but also we're a great help to each other. I mean, what is family? You know, a family is each other caring for each other, but all of that is a burden. I mean, it is, but it doesn't mean it's bad, right? I mean, when you're born, you can do nothing for yourself. And your mom and dad, or whoever's around, your brother, your big brother, your sister, whatever it is, your uncle, some random stranger on the street, whoever it is, they have to take care of you. You are fed because of them. Without them, you die, right? When you're first born, everything is reliant upon another person. And that person, and to that person, you are the biggest burden in their life. I can pretty much promise you that. Right? I mean, well, at least one of the biggest burdens, because they have to constantly keep an eye on you that you don't hurt yourself, because it's so easy to hurt yourself. Mm-hmm. Climb up something, fall over backwards, and break your head. I mean, like, done. No. you know, they have to watch you like every minute, and they have to feed you every day, multiple times a day. They have to give you water to drink. Their entire lives are focused on you, and the whole thing is just a big burden, right? Mm-hmm. But love is being willing to deal with that burden. And you know what's funny is, even though it's a burden, they get so much out of it, right? They have a relationship with this baby who can do nothing, right? But they still have a relationship with the baby. And when that baby smiles or laughs, it just lights up their day. It's like this thing in which I'm caring for and I'm helping to survive is smiling at me. It's so cute and innocent and pure and amazing. And it's like, how can you call that innocent and pure when the whole time, how can you get any joy out of that when the whole time it's such a burden? But that's like the return of love, you know? We work so hard at something just to make another person happy or just to help another person exist. And then whatever they give us back is just feels like a great reward, no matter what it is. You know, the baby can't do much other than to smile or laugh. That's really the only reward they can give, and yet it's worth it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's worth it even if they don't laugh and smile, because that's a human being and they're worth everything. And you are the same way. I'm not saying that you are at a point where you can't take care of yourself or you're that big of a burden on everybody. But what I'm saying is it's okay to be a burden. What I'm saying is don't worry about it so much. Maybe you are a burden. You know, do the things that you can do to make yourself less of a burden if you can, whatever you can think of, you know, do your own dishes after you get done eating, I guess, whatever, you know, there's things you can do. But if you're a burden, don't worry about it. You know, that's what friends, family, that's what we're here to accept and understand. How else do you show your love but through sacrifice, right?
Yes.
Sacrifice is the way in which we show that we actually love something, because we can say, oh, I love this, But if you're not willing to sacrifice anything for it, then do you really love it? I guess not. You're not willing to give anything up for it. You're not willing to go through any amount of pain for it. You don't really love it, right? You might say, I love blueberries, right? But you wouldn't be willing to lose an arm so that you can eat a blueberry. But if you love your best friend, you might be willing to jump in front of a bus to save them and lose your left arm and say, it was worth it. I love you that much. You're worth more than my left arm, right? Is that a burden? Yes. Is that sacrifice? Absolutely. And that's also love. So if you're a burden, that's okay, because they are too. And you get to be the one that they lean on when they're a burden. And maybe you feel like you don't do anything right, or maybe you feel like you make everything, you ruin everything, right? Well, sometimes you will. Sometimes you'll just ruin everything. But most of the time, I can promise you're not. That's just that's something that we all suffered from, is low self-esteem. We've all been there, I think. At least most of us. We've all had that feeling of like, I'm just messing everything up, and I'm ruining everything. I'm terrible. Who can like me? Why would anybody like me? I'm not good. I'm not helping anybody with my existence. But there's a couple of traps in that, and that's, one, your value isn't based off of what you can do. Your value in society isn't based off of how much you have to offer. Your value is you. Your value is that you're a human, and that, sure, you can do a lot with your life, or you could do nothing with your life, but you're a human regardless, right? And you're the only one that can bring you to the table. And that's important. You're here for a reason, right? You're not an accident. I don't care if you say like, oh, I was accidentally made because my mom and my dad didn't mean to, whatever. No, you're not here by accident, okay? There's a reason and a meaning behind everything in life. And if you don't think there is, then you don't believe in science. That's the way it is, right? Everything has a reason. Everything can be explained. So everything has a reason, and you're here for a reason, and you can do so much with your life. But don't let whether you're doing something for other people, doing a lot of good or doing a lot of bad, weigh you down. There's always tomorrow. You can do a lot tomorrow. And there's always the next year, and you can do a lot over the next year if that's what drives you. But ultimately, that's just a lot of you're not being kind to yourself. So one thing I would suggest is this: talk to yourself like you would your best friend. Would you say mean things to your best friend? Would you ever say all you do is ruin everything to your best friend? You wouldn't think that about your best friend. And even if you did think it, you wouldn't say it. Don't say it to yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. We're a human being, in our human lives, we're so tied in all of our relationships. And we even have a relationship with ourselves. We talk to ourselves, and we determine how we feel throughout the day. We get to pick our attitude. We get to decide whether we smile or we frown. I'm not very good at frowning. I don't do it very often. Anyways,
you faked it real well, though. You really did. Yeah, see?
Yeah, thanks.
If you grew a mustache, it'd be better.
Yeah, mustaches naturally have a frown to them. That's a good frown. Okay, anyways, I'm going to pop my jaw out of socket. Anyways, be nice to yourself. Treat yourself like a good friend. You have to use good words with yourself. You have to use kind words to yourself. You have to be lenient with yourself. Hold the bar high. Call yourself to do awesome things and be proud of yourself. Don't allow yourself to be lazy and be like, yeah, it's okay. You're all right, whatever. But don't insult yourself. Don't belittle yourself. Don't think of yourself as a burden. Because most of the time you're not. Just do your best to help out around as much as you can. Focus on others as best you can, and that will solve a lot of your self-esteem. You know, you can't think bad about yourself if you're not thinking about yourself. I mean, there's one for you. So, but when you do think of yourself, be nice. Be nice. Just try to be nice. You know, say good things. Say good things to yourself. Compliment yourself. It's okay to look in the mirror and say, wow, that guy's attractive. Wow, that girl's attractive. Even if you don't believe it, say it to yourself for a while. You know, soon enough, you'll start to see the things that are attractive. You'll start to recognize the things that are attractive. You know, I used to not like any kind of music unless it was a variation of rock or metal, or classical music. But I had a friend here named Joe. I don't know which side you're on. No, you're below me. I had a friend named Joe.
That's right.
Who was talking about music and how music. I also like trance, electronic music. Hey down there, how's it going? But Joe mentioned something about music, it all requiring talent, and all of it's good. All of it are liked by some people. And sometimes you're going to like a song, sometimes you're not. And that's okay. But, you can appreciate something in every genre. Every genre took talent to create, or else no one would enjoy it. There's something good there, something enjoyable there. And then it turned the way I looked at music, and I started to actually enjoy some pop music. I actually started to enjoy different varieties of music that I thought I would never like.
Even country.
And even parts of country, which most of it's bad.
Parts.
No, actually I can stand country. It's not that bad. But my eyes didn't open up to that idea until someone I respected said that, said those few words or liked it, And sometimes it takes respecting yourself to start to notice the attractive sides of you. Sometimes it takes someone else saying something nice about you before you notice that thing. And sometimes it takes standing in front of the mirror and saying, wow, that girl's attractive, over and over every day, until one day you look up out of bed and you look at yourself and you notice something like, actually, that is attractive. Never really thought about that, but I have nice eyebrows, or whatever it is. Sometimes you take a little convincing. So there's all sorts of different things for getting over self-esteem issues. But as far as being a burden, etc., hopefully I touched well enough on that to set you in a little better of a path. But anyways, I'm gonna leave the rest up to Joe.
Well, you definitely handled all that very well, Ryan. I don't know what I can add. Because you definitely touched on all of that, and it was beautiful.
Just like you. Beautiful.
Well, I just learned from the best.
I think that you weren't actually pointing to me, you were pointing to the heavens, so I'll accept
that. The heavens and you, because you're in the way.
We're both, I am in the heavens region because I'm above you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I guess what I would say with getting over the person is, like Ryan said, it takes time. And sometimes you have to take a step back. Sometimes you have to go through the grieving process. Anytime there's a loss, it can take some time to get through that. And one of the things, I actually learned this from studying a theory on reincarnation. And when
interesting,
people say that they're experiencing, their past life or whatever, and like this is actually a psychological issue that some people experience. And what they've said is, as time goes on, you gain enough of your own experiences to kind of drown out the other experiences that you think you're remembering and stuff like that, So like, the longer someone lives and the more experiences you have, the more that will overtake the feelings and the thoughts of the recent your recent relationship, the trauma of it ending, all of those things. And I man, it can hurt so much to lose someone through a breakup, through loss of friendship, through whatever. Sometimes you can be friends, sometimes you can't. Sometimes, the best thing for you is to not be friends. It really kind of depends on how serious the relationship was, what the relationship went through. All of those different things factor into, whether or not a friendship is even possible after a romantic relationship. But after the end of that, I would, there's going to be some time you're going to need to take to heal. There's going to be some grieving from the loss, and there's also going to be, if you can take some time and gain some new experiences, go and do some new things where you create some new memories. Those new memories, those new experiences can kind of start to overshadow the previous traumas of what you've experienced, and then that can start to smooth that emotion, that emotional roller coaster out a little bit, and you can replace some of those memories. But then in healing, I know I've touched on this on previous streams, but to really heal from a hurt like that's emotional pain, and that, I tell you what, the pain from relationships is the most difficult, hardest, it's the most painful kind of pain we can experience. So my heart goes out to you. But in order to heal from a relational injury, it requires forgiveness. That's one of the things I've learned, and I actually learned it very recently. And I've been on this earth for a lot of years, and it took me this long to get to that point where I finally figured out that healing relationally takes forgiveness. And sometimes it's the relationship you have with yourself. You may need to forgive yourself for something that you've done. And, maybe you're struggling with that. Maybe part of this breakup was something that you did, and you feel really bad about something you did to contribute to the ending of the relationship. Or maybe it was just all on them, and, then the forgiveness needs to be directed toward them, where that's the fastest route to healing is through forgiveness. And as you gain more experiences, as you learn to forgive yourself and forgive other people, the healing will take place. You'll take the time to grieve, and you will get through it. Sometimes the only thing we can do is remind ourselves that this too shall pass. This experience that I'm having, this pain that I'm going through right now, it will not last forever. I will get over it. Sometimes you may deal with an emotional scar from it, but a lot of times when you look at the scars that you've gotten, you look back on those with pride, because you kind of, and not an unhealthy kind of pride, but more of like a confidence building kind of pride. You're like, look, I've been through some tough stuff, and that can build a level of confidence and self-esteem in you after you go through it. Because I know right after it happens, it hurts, and your confidence is wounded, and your self-esteem is in the gutter, and it just is terrible. And now even with your friends, and now you feel like a burden, and it's just kind of spiraling down and down and down, and all of these feelings are feeding into each other, and they're just feeding and feeding and feeding, and it's just going down and down, and you end up feeling worse about it. And especially, as you said in your statement, if you're an overthinker, I also, man, I am an overthinker, and it keeps me awake at night, and all kinds of, like, I can't even help it. That's why it takes me so long to release a dang song, is because I overthink the mix. and I overthink the master, and then I overthink the video production, and then I overthink all his other things, and and then it frustrates Ryan.
It doesn't frustrate me. You do
And
your
I'm
own thing.
Yeah, well, part of it is also being busy, but at the same but being an overthinker can just add to this frustration, because then you're thinking about those things. But I love what Ryan said. If you can start to think about something else, if you can start to think about being a blessing to your friends, if you can start to think about how can I lift their day, how can I make these people's lives better, look at your friends and think of them with love in your heart, because man, they're there and they're your friends and you love them. How can you make their lives better? Even if it's just going up and smiling a real smile, and just, you don't even have to say a word, but if you look at somebody and in your heart you're saying to yourself, I love you and I'm so happy that you're my friend. That comes through your facial expressions, your body language, everything, even if you don't say a word. And then everything that you do say is colored with that emotion. It's got that along with it. You will not be able to hide that. And so if you love your friends, and we all love our friends. We all want our friends to be happy. And if you can think about doing that, how can I be a blessing to my friends? And then you will stop thinking about being a burden. And also, since you're thinking about the fact, since you're thinking, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm being a burden to my friends, then take that and own it in your mind and in your heart and be like, okay, if I've been a burden, I don't want to be a burden. I'm sorry for being a burden, and I forgive myself for being a burden. When you truly feel the contrition and the sorrow for if you're being a burden, if you feel sorry for that, and you actually say to yourself, oh my gosh, I feel sorry for being a burden to my friends, then forgive yourself. You've said you're sorry, and you're like, I want to change. I want to be different. And then you can forgive yourself and really truly say it in your head, or maybe you need to even say it out loud. I forgive myself for being a burden, and I no longer hold it against myself. And you may have to say it a few times before it really takes root in your heart. But from there, you can start to heal. And then once that's passed, then you can start to think about, how can I bless my friends? How can I love them better? How can I brighten their lives? And I would say that will be very helpful. I would say try that and see if it doesn't work. See if it doesn't make you feel better about the whole situation. And when you start thinking about that, then you won't be in the downward spiral of overthinking. But then you'll be in a creative mode of overthinking. Overthinkers are tremendously creative.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get in the upward spiral.
Yep.
And I can't wait to see what kinds of things you create, especially after you've been through some kind of pain. Creativity, you go through the pain, you go through the struggle, that can be such a great inspiration for creating something wonderful. And my goodness, I can't wait to see what kinds of things you create. But we love you, and you're valuable. I don't know how many people have told you that, but you are valuable.
Mm-hmm.
You are priceless, and you are timeless. And nobody has ever existed like you. No one will ever exist again like you. You're absolutely unique and absolutely of infinite value. And people love you. And don't ever forget that. And keep coming back here and go to bss.studio and join the community there. Obviously, you have already because you've posted a question. But
There
you're
you
going to
are.
find some great people there, and keep coming back. You love writing and drawing and arts and crafts, and I'll try to do amazing things. You, man, yes, do it. And even if you're just getting started, it doesn't matter how good you are at writing, drawing, or arts and crafts. I mean, maybe you're already excellent at it sometimes. You know, I remember the first time I tried to do stuff like that, I was terrible at it, and it took me a while to get good. But if you love doing it, you'll put in the time to get good. And use that. Use this time, this downtime, if you will, of grieving and going through this process to do something like that. Do something creative. And yeah, you're awesome.
Yeah. Welcome, Setsuchoko and everybody else who joined.
Yes.
Everybody who left, see ya. Sorry. Also, Master Lay had a good point. Word from our sponsor has not yet been made.
It has not.
Who's our sponsor today, Joe? Is it you?
Well, you've been the sponsor once. Jesse's been the sponsor another time.
That's true. Do you have a word for the day?
Is it my turn to be the sponsor?
Yeah, it's your It's definitely your turn to be a sponsor.
It's my turn. Okay.
Yeah, Jesse says it's your turn.
Tree.
Tree. A word from our sponsor today. Tree.
The word from our sponsor today is tree.
Do you guys need an example? Have you guys seen a tree before? Have you ever gone outside? You ever gone away from your computer for a second and look outside? There are trees out there. Sometimes there are trees in some places. Trees are made up of plant stuff. Mostly. By the way, did you guys know that trees are mostly made up out of, see, you think, okay, so trees, huge, right? Where does all of that huge stuff come from? And you're like, well, obviously it rains, they get the energy from the sun, and they are in the ground, right? So most of it's
we breathe at them,
right?
We breathe at them. They
breathe
inhale our CO2. Like, I go out there and try to make trees grow bigger by breathing at them.
You know what? That's the right tactic, because trees are mostly made up of carbon, and the only place that they get carbon from is when we breathe out. So you see those big trees? That's entirely made up of our breath. I'm not even joking. 90 plus, more than 90%, like 99% of the tree is made up out of our breath. Isn't that nuts?
That's
a huge thing.
Amazing.
That our breath can make. I just made a whole tree. Okay, maybe not that easily, but still. That's
you know what's
cool.
amazing about a tree, though?
Huh.
You know what it started off as?
A seed?
A seed.
Okay.
It was a seed of some form. And it grew over time into this amazingly huge, enormous, almost unstoppable thing. Actually, I just did I had an inspection for an insurance loss where a tree had fallen on this house.
Yeah.
This tree started off as a seed, just like every other tree, and then it grew big enough to fall on this house and wreck it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad that it fell on the house and wrecked it, but
that is sad.
But it grew that big, and apparently he said the person who came to cut up the tree and take it out of there said, you know, they basically were weighing it as they went. It was 80,000 pounds.
80,000 pounds.
80,000 pounds of tree from one tiny little seed.
Have you ever seen a pine cone seed? So the pine cone opens up, right? And then it puts out these little seeds. These little seeds are the size of a piece of sand.
Yeah. They're tiny.
They are like little black dot. And you're like, that's a seed? No, that can't be a seed. Go, it is.
Now it's in my belly.
Yeah, well, it's not like you can even feel it on your tongue. It's so tiny, right? It's like even smaller than a pepper. Anyways, yeah, nuts.
So that's the word from
So
our sponsor, and unfortunately, it comes at the end of our stream.
yeah, as per
But
usual.
we had to get it in somewhere, and it turned into more than just one word.
That's right.
But anybody, like, I know there were other people who had questions and issues. Please go to here. I'll post it. I'll post the link. Oops. Maybe if I can get things to work properly.
Are you going to make them navigate, or are you going to give them the exact address?
Given the exact address to the page of questions topics from the live stream in the Don't Worry Wednesday section of bss.studio. Go there, post your question there. Sweetie Puppy Kiara, thank you so much for your question, and you posted that all on your own. That was amazing. So yes, anybody else who had a question we didn't get to tonight, go ahead and post it there. We also had some other ones that we didn't get to that were posted there, but the people had unfortunately had to leave before we got to them. So, but put them there. We'll get to them on the next one. And yeah, go there, do it, and thank you all for being here. Oh my gosh. Once again, we're not professionals, and what we say is just for information. You know, sometimes you need a professional, and we'll just be here to encourage you along the way. But man, thank you all for being here, and we hope that what we said helped. And man, go to bss.studio. Stay tuned, because there's going to be some amazing stuff coming out. Ryan, as you all know, is an amazing musician. And the Criminal Idol series,
they'll believe them.
The Criminal Idol series is going to last forever. I'm convinced.
Is that because it'll never be finished and it'll just be like,
no.
Is the next episode coming out? Yeah, I'll come out.
It's kind of like it's kind of like my next release.
It's a timeless thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's not like my next release. This next CDVNL release is like, mixed. It just needs to be mastered. And
your next release is one of my favorite songs. I love that song, and I've loved it since you made it like 7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years. It's taken me 7 years to release this song.
Yeah,
of course,
that's amazing.
It's so good. It took a back seat for a long time. Well, I appreciate that, Ryan.
Huh?
I appreciate that, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad.
So if you guys don't know, Joe's channel, he writes music and stuff, and you should listen to it. By the way, someone asked what CDVNL's real name is. I'm sorry, I just spoiled it. It's Joe. So if you go to his channel, I think there's a link in the description below, isn't there?
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah. The link is in the about section. The link to my channel and the link to your channel also. Those are in there.
Perfect.
A cup of Joe.
Yes. Yes. A cup of Joe.
Yeah. But thank you all for coming. Welcome to all the people this is your first time on the stream. Come back next time. Ring the bell. Ring the bell on the thing. Click the bell, and then you'll be notified when we come on.
That's right. Easy peasy.
Apparently, it's kind of random. We try and make this on Wednesdays, but Wednesdays have been tough lately. So
yeah, so we've been doing a lot of Fridays. But we get a lot of people that show up on Friday too. So we appreciate you guys, whether you show up on Wednesday or Friday. We like it either way.
Eventually, I'd like it to be every day.
Yeah, me too.
We come on at 1 a.m. It's 1 a.m. when we came on for you, Jono.
Wow. Jono.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. Thanks for stopping by so late. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no kidding. We should do some of these at all different times of the day.
Well, once you are no longer having a job because BSS is making you enough money, doing what we're doing here, then we can do it anytime, man.
Yeah. I think that'll be good.
Yeah, some days we can stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning, or get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do it.
Yeah.
And then some
Or just
days, yeah,
be up.
or yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Could be jamming. We could be writing a song together or something, you know, and be like,
That'd
wait,
be
we got Don't Worry Wednesday in like 7 seconds. Flip the switch and be like, bam! Suddenly, studio interview mode set up, and we can do our Don't Worry Wednesday. It'll look just like this, except for in a different location with better backgrounds and lighting. Except for Joe's background is amazing.
It's okay. It'll be better eventually when we have BSS Studio.
Yeah.
Then it'll be cool. But
yeah.
Anyways. Thank you guys for coming. You guys are awesome, and we will see you next time. Most likely it'll be Wednesday next week.
Yes, likely.
This coming Wednesday in like 5 days or however many days.
However many days that is. Yeah, that seems right. Maybe it's 4.
Yes. 4 or 5.
It's 5. Like that. It's 5. It's 4 for people who are currently on the next day.
Yes. So, thank you guys for coming. You're amazing. We love you.
We love you. Bye-bye, guys.